Your Honor, if it please the court, my name is Miss Anis and I'm here representing Mr. Hakim in this matter. My plea of mitigation today will at first focus on the offence itself by addressing relevant provisions and the sentencing guidelines which I referred to, and I will also deal with Mr. Hakim's personal relevant mitigation factors or circumstances. Your Honor, the claim of my plea of mitigation today is to persuade the court to impose lesser sentence on my client, which is Mr. Hakim. Mr. Hakim was charged with an offence under Regulation 11(1) of the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act for contradicting to the Regulations 3 sub 1, which he travelled from one location to another within a contaminated local area for a reason that was not specified in Regulation 3 sub 2 of the Act. Mr. Hakim was arrested at kawasan Kolam Chalun, Kubang Pasu, Kedah, and he was charged with an offence that came with a punishment that with a fine that does not exceeding 1,000 ringgit or imprisonment for a period that does not exceed 6 months or both. For today, my client Mr. Hakim entered plea of guilty. I can say that the plea of the guilty is the reasonable opportunity in regard to the crime. Therefore, I will submit that Mr. Hakim is entitled to 1/3 level of reduction towards his sentence due to his plea of guilty entered today, which is relevant as it is the first time he appears before the court, which is referring to the sentencing guidelines for plea of guilty. Further, it was supported by the case of PP against Sulaiman Ahmad, where the learned magistrate had took into account the plea of guilty as part of mitigation factors in considering the sentence to be imposed and before the sentence was passed. Your Honor, another mitigation factor that I would like to submit is Mr. Hakim currently being at the age of 21 years old and when he committed the offence or when he was arrested. He is the eldest son of the family and he has been a sole breadwinner of the family since his father died. Apart from that, you can see that he had to take care of his 3 sisters and a brother, despite of the young age and the responsibility carried by him. Recently, he was offered a position as a manager at Tesco, which shall begin in this 2nd May of this year 2020. In considering this, I would like to submit that this would be a personal relevant mitigation factors in considering leniency towards his sentence, as the position offered at the Tesco enable him to support his family. Your Honor, if Mr. Hakim was sentenced or convicted, it would tarnish his opportunity or chance in getting a job, in getting this position at the Tesco, as well supporting his family. Your Honor, if there is no further inquiry, there are no further submissions of my behalf. Thank you. Your Honor, if it please the court, my name is Miss Anis and I am here on behalf of the prosecution today. First, I will originally focus on the offence itself by addressing the relevant provisions, and I will also deal with the relevant aggravating factors for imposing a heavier punishment towards Mr. Hakim. Your Honor, I would like to convince the court to impose heavier sentence on Mr. Hakim based on the aggravating factors relating to his offence. First, I would like to bring the attention to the court which regarding the Movement Control Order or MCO, it has been extended from 1st April 2020 to 14 April 2020 in the state of Kedah. This is via the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Order 2020. Due to this, a Minister of Health declared that the state of Kedah to be an infected area, and Mr. Hakim was arrested on 5th April 2020, which is between the extended period of the MCO. Moreover, there is a finding on which Mr. Hakim had a prison record, that he was convicted with the offence of self-administration under Section 15 of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. He was previously sentenced with a fine 1,200 ringgit and has been undergone 2 years supervisions. Your Honour, I would like to submit that according to Section 253 of the Criminal Procedure Code, stated that when there is a previous conviction on your offender and there are procedures that need to be pursued. Relating to Mr. Hakim, he already pleads guilty and convicted on the previous offence, which is under Section 15 of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. He then shall be asked whether he has ever been convicted on the charge according to subsection B of the provisions. Yet, for the previous convictions to be proved, it can be seen under Section 400 of the Criminal Procedure Code, which set out the ways how the previous convictions to be proved. Thus, we supported with a case of almost similar facts, which is in PP against Jafar bin Daud, where in this case the respondent was charged in being in possession of 8 plastic straws containing 0.21 gram of heroin, an offence under Section 12 Sub 2 of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. He also pleaded guilty to the crime and therefore charged and sentenced to 8 months in jail. However, the general prosecutor in this case protested against the sentencing and claimed that the sentence was extremely insufficient on the basis that the judge had refused to understand the severity of the crime and had therefore failed to take note on the respondent's previous convictions, which is he had 5 prior sentences before, 2 of it linked to the drugs. Consequently, it must be taken seriously that the previous convictions on Mr. Hakim was also fatal based on this case, and he might repeat the offence if there is no heavy sentence imposed on him now. As we can see, he dared to violate MCO, Movement Control Order, and there might be a possibility that he will repeat the previous offence in self-administration of drugs in attempt to obtain drugs. Your Honour, if there is no further inquiry, that is all for my submission today. Thank you.